Thank you, Joel. Ladies and gentlemen, I hereby call the 2014 annual meeting of Jackson EMC in order. If there are no objections, I hereby appoint Dick Tysinger of Tysinger and Vance Law Firm to conduct our business session tonight. Hearing none, I'll turn the microphone over to Mr. Tysinger.
Thank you, Otis. It's a pleasure to be with you and see such a large turnout on this meeting. It is a business meeting, though, for the members, and there are certain matters that we have to take care of in order to properly convene the meeting and conduct the meeting as your annual member meeting. The first thing I would like to do is to appoint James Robertson as our parliamentarian. James is over there. You were given an agenda our program when you came in, and if there's no objection, we'll let that be the orders of the day, and will be the order of we will handle the affairs of this meeting. Now I would like to call upon our secretary to provide the secretary's report.
Mr. Chairman, the official notice of this meeting contained in the August issue of Jimco News was mailed to 171,089 member customers on August 13th, 2014. Proof of mailing has been signed by the appropriate authorities and will be included as a part of the minutes of this meeting. Our registrars have notified me that 1,304 member customers have been officially registered to participate in this meeting tonight. This number, Mr. Chairman, exceeds the quorum to conduct the official business of the cooperative. Thank you.
The meeting is now formally convened and is shown to be properly convened. The first item of business is action upon the minutes of the last annual meeting. The minutes are on file here at the cooperative's office and can be read and accessed at any time by a member. But rather than read them, it would be in order that we have a motion to waive the reading of the minutes and approve them as on file in the corporate offices. Do I have such a motion that we waive the reading of the minutes? Have a motion back there? Have a second? I'm going to count everybody that's fanning themselves as having seconded that motion, so I think we got that covered. Now we enter the phase of the meeting where you are given some information about your cooperative and how it's run, and the first person to do that is your auditor, and I'd like to call upon Randy Nicholson, our outside auditor, to give his report on the audit. Randy?
Thank you, Dick. I was told either to get a stool to stand on or pull this mic down, so I hope that I pulled it down far enough that you're able to hear me. Thank you again for allowing me to review the financial statements of your cooperative with you again this year. In the September issue of the Jimco News, there's a lot of financial information in there. I encourage each of you to read it, and what I'm going to do at this time is to summarize that information. Your cooperative had assets totaling approximately $861 million at the end of this year, compared to $843 million last year. That's an increase of $18 million. Most of the money of your cooperative is invested in your utility plant. Your utility plant is the poles, the wire, transformers, and other equipment used to get electricity to your homes. Utility plant for your cooperative increased approximately $22 million during the past year, while the other assets used to take care of the current operations decreased by about $4 million. The assets that you have are provided by capital that's provided by you, the members, and you provide that capital through the payment of your bills each month And then there's also capital needed that has to be borrowed, and y'all borrow that money from the Rural Utility Service, the Federal Financing Bank, and the National Rural Cooperative Finance Corporation. Presently, the capital provided by you, the members, totals approximately $341 million. For the year ended May 31st, 2014, your cooperative had revenues totaling $486 million and expenses totaling $469 million that provided a margin of $17 million. That margin was adequate to meet all of the financial covenants that are required by your bankers and to help to keep your cooperative in a solid financial position. During the past year, your cooperative also was able to return $5.5 million in capital credit refunds back to you, the members. Thank you.
Well, good evening again, ladies and gentlemen. It's now time for the chairman's report, and I'm pleased to bring that to you. On behalf of your board of directors who are seated here behind me on the stage, I'd like to welcome you to Jackson Electric Membership Corporation's 75th annual meeting. I'm very pleased to report that our recovery from the Great Recession seems to have finally taken hold. After a slow rebound, we have, for the second year in a row, added more than 3,000 new Jackson EMC meters. It's been 6 years since we've seen that much growth, and it's certainly a welcome sign. Your cooperative now has nearly 214,000 meters. In addition to adding more than 3,200 residential meters, we've added nearly 360 commercial and industrial meters. A number of those were large, competitive customer choice loads, including the Toyota compressor parts facility in Jackson County, 2 120,000 square foot prototype Kroger stores in Hall and Clark counties, ProCare RX in Hall County, Millennium Mat Company in Gwinnett County, and distribution centers for Ollie's and Home Goods in Jackson County. Together, these 7 new commercial customers will have a connected load of more than 37.5 megawatts. By the way, that's enough electricity to power 7,500 homes, or about half the households in all of Jackson County. To serve 2 of these new customers, Toyota and the Hall County Kroger store, we had to build the new Valentine Farms and New Holland substations. In the last 12 months, Jackson EMC members have used nearly 5.1 billion, that's billion with a B, kilowatt hours of electricity. Think of it this way. That's enough electricity to power this 60-watt incandescent light bulb for a year for every one of the 10 million people in the whole state of Georgia. We have now nearly $900 million in plant assets, including more than 13,500 miles of energized line served by 78 metering points. And yet, even though we have 9,500 more meters than we had 5 years ago, your cooperative is efficiently operating with 46 fewer employees than we had back in 2009. Your board of directors and staff continue to conservatively manage Jackson EMC's finances. Of the 94 electric providers in the state of Georgia, our electric rates are among the 10 lowest in the state. Think about this. Thank you. Think about this. Those of you who use 1,500 kilowatt hours of electricity each month are paying about $360 less each year. It's about $30 a month less than you would if you were a customer of Georgia Power. As you saw earlier, Jackson EMC is in very sound financial condition, which allows your board to return money to you, our member owners. Because Jackson EMC is a not-for-profit cooperative, a portion of the revenue left over after all the bills are paid, which we refer to as margins, can be returned to you, our member owners, at the end of each year. If you will remember back, last December, the eligible Jackson EMC members received $5.5 million in margin refunds. We are pleased to announce tonight that in December of this year, we will mail margin refund checks totaling $6 million. Totaling $6 million to more than 207,000 members who received service in 1989 and or 2013. After this December's refund, Jackson EMC will have returned nearly $102 million in margin refunds to you, our owner members, since the co-op was founded in 1938. Now, I'm sure you know that a lot of work has gone into making this evening a special one for you. So please join me as I thank all the people who have made this happen. Of course, our Jackson EMC employees who set up and staffed this event, the area FFA chapters who cooked our delicious chicken dinners, and one of our partners in education schools, Benton Elementary, who created our table decorations. Please join me in thanking these three groups of people. We Board of Directors sincerely appreciate each one of you coming tonight. We are each honored to serve you and to make sure you receive the reliable, reasonably priced, high-quality electric service you have come to depend on. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my remarks for the evening. Thank you for your kind attention. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me a distinct pleasure to do something that we at Jackson EMC have not done in the last 30 years, and that is to introduce a new President CEO. It gives me great pleasure tonight to introduce to you Mr. Chip Jenkins, our President and Chief Executive Officer. Please join me in making Chip welcome at this time. Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you, Otis. And good evening, everyone. My first annual meeting, and how wonderful it is. We've got a great night. I'm so glad that you came tonight. And I tell you, I know I'm a new face, so I'm going to spend just a minute introducing myself. As you know, Randall Pugh retired at the beginning of the year, and I took his place. For me, co-op is a lifetime experience because I grew up in a co-op family. I was born in Mississippi, and my dad, like me, made his career in the electric co-op business. So I grew up in a co-op family. And watching him over the years, I couldn't think of a better way to have a career and to provide for my family than serve an electric co-op member. So I appreciate y'all giving me that opportunity. Now, speaking of my family, they're here with me tonight. They're seated right over here. If I can get them to stand. Let me introduce my wife, Ginger. and my daughter Hadley and my son Dell. You know, we've recently moved to Jackson County, and we're settling into a new home and a new school, and that's difficult to make that kind of transition. And we really appreciate the warm welcome that you've given us into the community, and I want to thank you for that. I'm very proud, like I said, to be part of this cooperative, and I look forward to being part of this community with my family. And thank you all again for making us feel so welcome. Now I'll stop talking about me for a minute because y'all are the reason we're here tonight. And as you recall, this year got off to a very stormy start for our cooperative. It began with a polar vortex, and I tell you, not many of us here in Georgia have ever heard of a polar vortex, much less experienced one. And it brought in these single-digit temperatures that we just weren't accustomed to. But the severe cold was a good test of our manpower and our equipment, and we passed with flying colors, and I know you're proud of that. Jackson EMC set an all-time record demand that day of 1,300 megawatts. And for those of you that don't keep up with megawatts on a daily basis, our normal winter peak is about 890 megawatts. So we surpassed our normal winter peak by about 46%. And demands like that usually only happen in the summer in Georgia, or so we thought. But the system performed well, and you can rest assured we are ready if we ever experience another polar vortex. Let's hope not. And then just a month after the polar vortex, our employees readied themselves once again and braced for what we feared would be a severe ice storm. Now, that storm only brought snow and sleet to our area, so we weren't as affected as some of the other co-ops around us. But we stood ready to send our crews to help co-ops to the east and south in true cooperative spirit. Those that did have those damaging ice accumulations to help them restore power to their members. This spring and fall were typical spring and fall for us. The thunderstorms kept our crews busy. And we've been fortunate not to have experienced any really severe weather since then. Now we know that outages create problems for you guys, whether you're at home or at work. And with the planning, system monitoring, the right-of-way maintenance, the employee training that we have here, I want you to rest assured that we're better equipped than ever to avoid power outages. And when they do occur, we're ready to get the lights back on faster and more quickly than ever. We even began an automated distribution project at the end of last year to install reclosers in place of about 200 switches that had to be operated manually. Now, you're going to see a difference here because these reclosers are smart devices. They continually monitor the current in the line, and when a problem occurs, they can operate on their own without any interference from us, or they can even be operated from here in our system control center. Now, it'll take several years to get all of those 200 switches replaced, but the reclosers will actually prevent some outages in the future and then significantly shorten the ones that we can't prevent. So you'll see that difference as we progress through that project. Now, sometimes the cause of outages doesn't even come from our distribution system. It occurs in the transmission lines or the equipment that serves the statewide integrated transmission system. And when that happens, we rely on Georgia transmission personnel to make those repairs, but in our case, we went a step further. We wanted to reduce that outage time, so we've sent our very own personnel to get that type of training so that they are qualified to operate that equipment too. And you're going to see a difference in outage restoral times because of that change. Now, we know outages aren't the only thing that's important to you. So let me tell you about the other things that we're doing to serve you. I've got a smartphone on me. How many of you have smartphones on you tonight? I've seen a lot of them tonight, and I know you've got them. So instead of having to call us, now you can use your smartphone and Jackson EMC's web app to view your bill or report an outage, apply for or disconnect service or other functions. And our self-service website already stands ready to conduct business for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And you can use that app or our website, even the app while you're on the go. Just not while you're in the car. Pull over, use the app, carry on. All right. Now, if you're having a problem paying your bill and you need to make payment arrangements, we've even made that easier. You're now able to make those payment arrangements over the phone through an automated system. You don't even have to hold for a customer service rep, so it saves you time. Now, let me ask you this. Are some of our Madison County members with us here tonight? I know I talked to you, a few of you. Yep, I've got a few over here waving some fans. Well, to better serve you folks and then in parts of Jackson and Clark counties that are over there near Madison County, we just opened a new office at Highway 29 and Spratland Mill Road. I hope y'all found it. Yep. It provides us with a more central location in that area to respond more quickly to your needs. It gives us easier access. It gives you easier access to us, additional drive-through lanes, and an auditorium for community events. We dedicated that auditorium to lifelong Madison County resident and former Jackson EMC board member Paul Burrows, and we know he would be proud to have his name on that building. Now, I'll say it again. You're the reason we're here tonight. We want to do a good job for you, but it's kind of difficult to get around and ask each Jackson EMC member how we're doing, and we're interested in your feedback. So every other year, we ask how we're doing through our residential customer satisfaction survey. And this past fall, we sent out 3,200 of those surveys, and when the results were tabulated, it showed that 94% of you are satisfied with your service. Now, that's an outstanding number to me. After all, and I love Coca-Cola just as much as anybody, and it's a beautiful Georgia company, but only 84% satisfaction score for for Coca-Cola in a similar survey. And then when 94% of you told us you were satisfied, another 93% of you said that if you had another opportunity, you would choose us again to be your electric service provider, and that's quite an honor for us. And I have to tell you, much like Otis before, that I credit those scores to the hard work and dedication of our employees. And you've seen them out here in the blue shirts doing a great job serving you tonight. How about another round of applause for those guys? I also credit those scores to the strong leadership provided by our board of directors, and I truly care about serving you, and it shows. How about one more hand for our board of directors and the guidance that they give us at the co-op? I also want to let you know that while we're proud of that, we're not going to stand still. We're not going to rest on our laurels just because you've given us great feedback. You better believe we're not taking that for granted. You can depend on us 24 hours a day, every day, and we take that very seriously. We will constantly work to find new and better ways to serve you. You are the reason we're here. I've said that over and over again tonight. You are our members. You are our owners. And we thank you for being here to help us conduct the business of the co-op. We hope that you are just as proud of your co-op as we are. We hope you and your family have enjoyed the evening. I want to thank you personally for making my very first Jackson EMC annual meeting very special. We hope you have a safe trip home tonight, and I hope to see you again next year at my second annual meeting. Thank y'all.
Thanks, Chip, for that excellent report. It's always good to come over here. I've been doing this for 12 or 15 years and hear what good things are happening at Jackson EMC, and that seems to be continuing. One of the business items that the bylaws provide that has to be conducted at this meeting is the election of directors. There are two ways that nominations can be made, and I'll tell you about those in just a minute. This year, the open seats that are up for election, there's a rotating directorships. 3 come up for election every year, 3 different ones. The open seats are now occupied by Alton Thornton from Clark County, Lynn Price from Gwinnett County, and Shane Story from Jackson County. One of the ways to have candidates nominated is through the nominating committee. And now I'd like to call upon Joel Harden to come up and give the nominating committee report.
Thank you. The nominating committee of the Jackson Electric Membership Corporation met at the cooperative headquarters office on Commerce Highway, Jefferson, Georgia, at 8:30 a.m., August the 6th, 2014. In accordance with the bylaws of Jackson Electric Membership Corporation, we wish to place a nomination of the following members for consideration by the membership of the meeting of the members of Jackson Electric Membership Corporation to be held on Thursday, September 18th, 2014, and voted on at said meeting to serve for a 3-year term beginning on the date. The board members nominated: from Clark County, Mr. Alton Thornton; from Gwinnett County, Miss Lynn Price. From Jackson County, Mr. Shade Story. Signed by members of the nominating committee, Mr. Steve Bates, Mr. Steve Blair, Mr. Killian Butler, Ms. Carolyn Clancy, Mr. Joel Harbin, Mr. Ronnie Heelan, Ms. Howard McClure Jr., and Mr. Clay McDaniel. Thank you.
Thank you for that report. The other way that directors can be nominated is by a petition signed by members. This year, there are no nominations by petitions, and the only candidates are those that the nominating committee nominated that you just heard. Therefore, since there's no opposition for any of these 3 seats, a motion to elect these directors by acclamation would be in order. So do I have a motion that these directors be elected by acclamation? Have a motion? Second. Couple of seconds over there. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and this slate is duly elected. There is no unfinished business that I know of. Is there any new business to properly come before the meeting? Seeing none, I will declare the business session adjourned, and we will proceed to the second round of prize drawings. Good luck and have a safe drive home.